Hello and welcome to another episode of 177 Nations of Tasmania. And today the country is Nepal. And the thing that you need to know about the Nepalese community is it's one of the fastest growing communities in Tasmania. The point where I believe Nepali is the second foreign language in Tasmania now, just behind Mandarin. And you know, whenever I mention this to locals that we've got lots of Nepalis here, they say, "Oh, I don't see any around." And that's possibly because they're there, and if you really look, there's Nepalis working all over the place. They just may be flying under the radar a bit. So because of that, I think it's really great that I've got Prakash here, who has a Nepali who's lived in Tasmania for quite a while and has seen many changes in the Nepali community in Tasmania, and hope that the listeners will learn a lot more about the Nepali community in Tasmania. So welcome, Prakash. Thanks for agreeing to talk to me. So perhaps we could start by just could tell us when did you come to Tasmania, and what were the reasons for you coming here?
Well, thanks, Mark. I came in Tasmania back in 2008. It was 8th of August 2008. We got landed, me and my wife here. And the reason we chosen to come Tasmania and especially Australia is for overseas studies. So I came as an international student.
And what did you come to study?
I started doing accounting. I wanted to continue doing accounting, but due to some disturbance in terms of getting permanent residencies and things like that, I had to change it, and then I chosen to do hospitality. So I did a commercial cookery here in TAFE, and then did a diploma in hospitality from Industry Link.
So why did you change? What was there a particular reason why you chose hospitality?
We had a goal just to settle here for long term, and to achieve the goals, the best way to achieve that goal is to get a permanent residency. And while doing accounting, there were some changes in students' visas, and the accounting was taken off from the permanent residence list. It came back later on, but that time it was taken off, and I was like, first semester was through, and I just thought like, no, I don't want to get into it, and paying for no reasons. That's why the international student advisors, his name is Peter, he just recommended me, is just like, instead of taking risk, you better get into the commercial cookery, and there is a good opportunity to get permanent residence. And I was very young. I didn't think seriously, so I was really young that time, so I just took instant decision to change my course.
Yeah, right. Did you have much background in cookery prior to that?
No, not really. I saw mom cooking at home, that's all. I never had done any cooking, to be honest. But there was no choice to make to achieve your goals. You had to adapt new challenges, and that's what I did.
So what were your first impressions of Tasmania?
Yeah, I was a bit nervous. The day I got landed, as soon as I came out of the aeroplanes, it was really windy and cold because I came in the middle of the winter. Me and my wife were like, oh my God. The best thing I found about Tasmania is like their hospitality is really incredible. The day I got landed here, the cab driver was really helpful. He just gave me a big map, and he asked me he just helped me out to find out the place where to go for shopping and how far is my college, everything's whatever conversation I shared, he just helped me out to just guide me in the right way. And on top of that, people wherever we go for shopping or applying for a job and stuff like that, we found them really positive.
Great. But what were some of the initial challenges that you experienced?
When I was here, there were like hardly 15, if I'm not wrong, 15 to 20 Nepalese people here in Tasmania, and not much references to find out the job. We had no idea what are all the industries looking for people and what is our potential to go and apply for the job. We were completely unaware, so we were just randomly trying our luck, and there were failures once after another in terms of getting job. And that was the first thing, to find out the job to sustain yourself here. The other big challenge was like, me and my wife both left Nepal first time, and we are very nostalgic. Once I get nostalgic, my wife support me, and once she gets nostalgic, and I support her and back up her. before, and that's how it was. And especially for my wife, the first couple of months she had a hardship of understanding the English here, because she was very good in English back in Nepal, but the way Australians speak English was entirely different, and it took a while to adapt, to understand and acknowledge how people talk and how we communicate. On top of that, Tasmania is full of slang, and it was really challenging for myself as well. And sometimes when you go outside, wherever you go, there is a bad people in community, and we were a victim of that a couple of times when we go outside to enjoy.
So when you say bad experiences, what was that like? People yelling out to you?
Just when we go for celebrations like Christmas days or hot summer days, we go out to have a few drinks, and when we come out, you will see a bunch of idiots around the street. They're just yelling out to you. When we were driving back home, and they were just throwing eggs and stuff like that, and they were using bad languages, which was not appropriate. We can't say that in the media, but yeah, that sort of things we just got quite often, but we just tolerated. That's very rare. Didn't happen at the workplace, didn't happen at the universities or TAFE, wherever I went, but when you come out to socialize with the local people, we had few bad experiences. Yeah.
And can you remember any examples of slang you heard that you're just like, what the hell's that?
Well, yeah, there are a fair bit. Like they just when I go to work, they use their own slang. Like when they ask me to go and get something, and they goes, how much you pulling out? And I was like, yeah, I'll get a whole tray. And they're like, no, that's a chock-a-block, mate. You can't pull out. That's chock-a-block. And I was like, what's that? So I'm just looking to each other. All those colleagues are laughing on me, and they just did some prank with me, and it was really, really bad. Some languages they asked me to go and deliver to the waitress.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was seriously harmful, but I was completely unaware of it, and I did it, and there was a bit of issues, and at the end they were all laughing. It's so yeah, there were many examples of that.
But that's quite a good example of Australian culture or of the way that Australians behave to each other socially, which can be misinterpreted.
Exactly, actually. Right. Look, because I came from the different culture and background, and the culture here here in Tasmania or in Australia is wide open. I just had to adapt it, and took a while. Now, if that sort of things comes, I must probably know it and deal with it very easily.
How did you, at the beginning, sort of learn to adapt to the culture and just life here?
Well, once I realized this is what it is in culture, it's a very basic things, and you just need to adapt. And if you learn, it will be a fun part of your life in a long term, Prakash. So just get into it, mate. Come on, you can do it. So at workplace, I just got really keen to learn the new words and the slangs. So I work at the same place for longer than 10 years now, and that's where I learned most of it.
Yeah. So tell us a bit about how you first got work here.
Yeah, it's just I was doing commercial cookery back in 2008, end of 2008, and when I was first year's done, the college had a program to send students who is just going through the commercial cookery to the work placement. So there was a 3 weeks work placement program. It is a mandatory program for all the international students to go and gain that experience, what exactly happens to the workplace and what is the differences we can find out between workplace and the institute. So that's when I was sent to the place called Fish Frenzy. That's seafood restaurants at Salamanca, and I just went there as an international student, and they asked me what sort of visa you have got, and I said I'm holding student visa and I'm doing commercial cookery, and I've got 20 hours work restriction in my visa. I can't work more than 20 hours. That's my visa restrictions. And the head chef there asked me everything, and I honestly answered those things, and I worked there with them. And once I finished first week, and the head chef came back and asked me are you keen to work if we offer you 20 hours a week work? And I was very thrilled, and I was like, absolutely, I'll come and work. That's what I'm looking for at the moment, and that's how I got my first job. And I just continued working as a casual cook at that time. And when my visa was sorted, and I was able to, once I was in temporary residency, I was able to work full time. And when my visa restriction was over, the business offered me to work as a full-time chef, and I just accepted the contract. And then we built up the relationship, and they offered me sponsorship. That's how I got permanent residency. So yeah, credit goes to my business and all those senior management peoples to look after me and my families.
Yeah, but you must have done a pretty good job for them to show that kind of faith in you.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, when I was there at the beginning, I was the first brown collar chef working in a kitchen. All local Aussie mates were there, and the owner quickly got back to me and said, like, if you got more people like you who is willing to work, we need people like you here in business. If you got any mates, just bring it over and we will give them the opportunity to work like what you have done. And I had a few, jobless mate around and just asked them to come and work with me, and they kept proving themselves like we are all good people. I just did that bridging roles, but at the end they are the one gone to the workplace and proved themselves like they are all hardworking people. So whoever I take into the business, they prove themselves like we love challenge, we love working hard, that's all we want. And slowly now there is like 40% of the employees working in my workplace are from Nepalese origin people, and they really appreciate what I have done to the business, bringing all those good hardworking kind peoples into the business. It's not I'm saying, this is what the senior management level peoples are frequently talking.
Mm-hmm. So how did you said that all the colleagues were locals,
yes,
right? And how did they react to having this was their first Nepalese?
Oh, they were very welcoming. Most of them were very welcoming, but we had a few bad cases and I don't blame them, because most of the time this incident takes place was like when they are intoxicated or they are having some sort of depressions or anxiety. They had issues in their personal life, and not only with me, they just come and ruin the environment of that particular day. It's not personally attack sort of things, but that's what we learn, and we just dealt with it. Like all other colleagues, they just come and says, talk to me, this is not for you, this is for whole entire team, and he's having his own issues, he's dealing with it, so that's his frustrations coming out.
Yeah. Well, it could be working in a kitchen can be quite high stress at times.
Oh, absolutely. And moreover, we work in one of the most busiest restaurants in Hobart, and it's always something happening there. Very busy, but yeah, you need to deal with it. If you're not good enough, it's very hard to work at the workplace like where I'm at. You should have a cool temperament, and you should be able to handle the pressures, because most of the tourists comes in a cruise ships. That is the first door they go and have food. So you always have to be ready for that challenges. And yeah, if you have some issues outside the work, you seriously can't focus on your work, and that's what happened there sometime. And we just supported. We try to support it. We tried all the time just to motivate him and what we personally can do. We did our part, to be honest.
Yeah. You mentioned getting to know locals at work. Was it easy to get to know local people?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very easy to communicate with them. I was a bit, I was a bit nervous, like how to communicate with them and how to make them friend. But the way I was thinking and the way they are, it's entirely different. They're very wide open and very welcoming. And if they think you are not talking and you are a bit shy, they realize, and they just give you the environment, like come on, mate, have a chat, have a drink, let's do it. So that sort of nature they had, and it's so welcoming for me, to be honest.
Yeah. But what were your expectations before that? What did you think Australia?
Well, I was like, I used to watch the movie, English movie, and the only thing was shown in a movie is pretty much about the conflict between the white people and the black people, and how welcoming the European cultures for the refugees and that sort of things. And I was a bit nervous. I was wondering, like, I could be the victim of what I have witnessed in movies and that sort of things, but I was completely wrong. That's just a movie. I never got any issues with anybody in terms of like building up the relationship and friendship. Yeah, that's how I made very many local friends now. If you just sit back and just expect people to come and have a chat with you, it can be possible, but it takes a while. So you need to stretch your first leg to build up that relationship. You need to be open up. You need to be you need to open up and talk to them, and just ask them if you have any issues or anything to discuss about, anything you are not aware of it. And people seriously loves it, rather than you are on your own and sitting back and expecting people and things to come to your door. That's what I think. That's what I did. That's how I made many friends. Yeah, and I don't blame those people for sitting back and being quiet, because it could be the influence of your culture too. So yeah. I'm not blaming them, but that's where we came from. We're very shy in nature. When we go to the school, we just, do the namaste to our teacher before any class begins. Back in Nepal, here it is different. I was shocked when they were like, "G'day, mate," when to their teachers, hey Pete, hey Andrew, what's up, mate? That's how they present themselves in a classroom, having a Red Bull in their hand, wearing the shorts on. on. So it's a bit different here. What we were coping back in Nepal, it's a different system.
Growing up in Nepal, what kind of environment did you grow up in?
It's a family environment. It's a friendly and family environment, and a bit of a tough. Got to be very respectful to your parents and your grandfather or grandmother and all the respectful member of the families. So like my mom and dad, I live with them all my life back in Nepal, and we got a cousins next door, and my grandfather, my grandmothers, they were there, and all the uncles and aunties were neighbor. So it's at the end of the evening, they all together and watching the news, talking about all the things happened during the day and what are all the things they're going to do as a families. They talk about their kids and always appreciate when they do the good things. He came first in the classrooms, and if you're not doing well, and you put your head down and listen to them. And once that happens, and mom and dad, they are like, oh, he's doing well, and you need to be accelerating to be as good as what he's doing. That sort of competitiveness there in a family as well. And on top of that, you got to be always careful what you do during the day, because they are noticing you. And once you come back playing soccer or cricket, and they are like, you haven't done your assignment, and you just go straight away and play the cricket, your exam is approaching. If you don't do this, I'll just stop all the privilege you're getting to play the sports. That's how it was. But at the end, they were very caring. The food is always ready on the table. They always call for lunch before the mini breakfast, and they always ask you, like, you got your school uniform iron and everything dressed there, good to go. So it was very easy, relaxing, and very on top of that, from your side, you got to be more polite and respectful to your parents and all the senior member of family, I would say, because we were 3 different generations.
So the extended family is obviously very important in the Nepali culture. So does that mean that everyone in the family has something to say about your life?
Yeah, like whoever are senior members, like uncles, aunties, grandfather, mother, they got the right to say whatever they want, and you can't deny the fact what they are talking about.
And so did you grow up was it more of a rural environment or more kind of city area?
It was a town. It's a town with all the facilities available. Yeah, that's where I grew up. But my grandmother's grandfather, all those heritages were a bit far, and I always used to go and enjoy there, seeing those rural life of villagers. It was very overwhelming, to be honest, because I love the natures, and I go there and enjoy myself. Whenever there is a school holiday, I always rush to my uncle's auntie's place to play with them, do some sort of farming with them.
And what did your parents do?
My dad is a teacher. He used to be a teacher a long time ago. So he was a principal in primary schools, and then he done his master degree, and then he got promoted. So he went to the universities and became a professor. And mom was a simple housewife. She just look after us, feed us, And my dad is a book writer as well. He's recently finished his PhD. Yeah, he published a couple of books about this political situation in Nepal and some social workers.
So since you first came to Tasmania, what changes have you seen in the local Nepali community?
When I was here, it was really tiny little community. We were limited 15 to 20 people in island, and we all know each other that time very easily. The mass gathering was limited to some house. We celebrate all the feast and festivals in some particular person's house rather than doing mass gathering like what we do now. But now the community is boomed. It is grown up rapidly due to many reasons. We're very fortunate to get many Nepalese peoples here in Tasmania, so we can do what we need to do, like what we are doing now. We got our own cricket team. We have got our own associations. We have got our own community called Nepali Society of Tasmania. So we expanded as a big family now.
What are some of the cultural activities that the Nepali community celebrates?
Majority of the people, they follow Hinduism. That's the main religion in Nepal, and they celebrate Dasera, that's called is Dasai, and they also celebrate Diwali. It's a festivals of lights, and there is another festival of color that's called Holi. So we celebrate those main festivals, plus all the ladies in our community. There is a festival called Tej. So before Dasai comes, a month ago or maybe a bit earlier than that, all the ladies, they have a particular festival. So basically the ladies put all the good costume and go and dance and celebrate. And basically the males, the male member of male, they just organize that platform for their ladies or their sisters or their wife to go and celebrate Tej. And they also get participated to celebrate with them. So those 4 festivals are the key we've been celebrating in Tasmania.
So what is Tej actually celebrating?
Tej is about, like in our cultures, once the girls get married and go away from her parents and she lives with her husband to the different house. So, like both sides, she is missing her parents and the parents are missing her daughter or, whatever. And that the Tej is the day they just all get together, all the females. So it's like a reunifications of those people who are missing from each other, especially mom and dad with their daughter who's got married and living with husband for 10-12 months, hasn't seen them for a while. So that's the day the husband from his side, he just sent her to go and celebrate with her parent. And that's when they all get together and, share what happened during that time, So the mom with her daughter, you've been missing for like 10-12 months. What are all the things happening? And
so is that specifically a Nepali festival? Or
it is a specifically Nepalese festival, yeah. A decade ago, like soccer used to be a major sports in Nepal, but the things has been changed rapidly. And the credit goes to the Nepalese cricket team. They started doing well. They started playing good cricket. They participated and they played on T20 World Cup in Bangladesh, and they became ODI status nations. So after achieving so many things in tiny little period, there is a big expectation from Nepalese cricket team, and the the nation is erupted to see the outstanding achievement they have been achieving one after another in short period of time. So the whole nation is erupted and they've been supporting cricket. And on top of that, like you said, the Sandeep, most probably the first Nepalese sportsman to play the sports in such a higher levels, like playing IPL and Big Bash League. Yeah. And that has given the faith to all parents, like cricket can be commercial to their kids. And that impact has driven all parents to send their kids to play cricket. And all the young generations who's grown up with Sandeep, the similar age people.
We're talking about Sandeep Lamachan.
Yes. Yeah. So they have decided like, okay, cricket can be commercial and it can give you name and fame. So that's where the cricket is at Nepal now.
Bring it back to Tasmania. One thing that maybe many people don't know is just how many Nepalese here are playing cricket. And so tell us a bit about the Gurkha Legends. Like how did that start?
It started back in 2011-12. We all started casual cricket in a backyard just to waste the time, like just sort of fun cricket. And slowly and dramatically, the number started increasing. Players started moving in Tasmania, and we just made our mind like it's a time we have to have our own team and play cricket no matter what, because the number looks pretty promising and we can't expect the goal. We can't expect the results in 1 year or 2 years, but at least we can set up this system so we will be recognized as a team and we will be recognized as a stronger cricket club in future. That was the goal and that's what we did. And 2011, 12, 13, we were in building phase. We getting players, putting them in a team, and at the same time some people get settled and move out. So we were in the situations of building the team. And from 2014-15 we got the security. Now we can have 11 players for the season because we have a decent numbers. And 15-16 we played many friendly matches with the local team, and we came to know where our level is at. And we thought obviously if we get few good players we can be a challenging team very, very soon. And that happened in 2017, I would say, when we decided to play the first intercultural sports league, and then we were voted as the best debutant team of the season, and we narrowly missed the semi-final. So that was the situation in our first year, and since then we've been getting many good cricketers. And this year's
ex-international players too, I believe.
Yeah, we got few international players. I've got our captain Sagar Khatka. He's played under 19 cricket from Nepal, wearing Nepalese jersey. Amrit Bhatrai, our key player, he has played for Nepalese national team for so long. He played the senior level cricket for so long, and since his wife moved to Tasmania, he has chosen to live in Australia. And on top of that, we got so many good cricketers came here in Tasmania from Melbourne and Sydney. the end, we all know Australia is a cricket-loving nation, and our community is grown up. We got so many youth with huge potential, and so this is our responsibility now to play the cricket and to give a birth to the good cricketer who can go and participate in senior level like A-grade cricket, hopefully soon in Hobart Hurricanes team, or maybe the Shield cricket. That's our goal. That's how we want to give something to our community.
Here's a question that will test how Australian you've really become. How much do you know about Aussie rules football?
I do it very well, I would say. I can't be arrogant and say it's like I'm very good on that, but I think I'm onto it, to be honest. I got my own team. I follow Geelong.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I came in 2008, the next season 2009, Geelong lifted the trophy and they became a champion in 2011 again after a years of break. And I've been following them, and Australian rules, to be honest, is the most thrilling and exciting sports I've ever watched. There is a goals every 2 minutes, not like a soccer you wait 90 minutes and it ended up being draw. The footy is different. Every minute is thrilling. There is a mark, there is a suspensions, there is a tackles, there is a goals. It's a thriller.
So did you get to know about Australian rules football through your people at your work?
No, not at all. It's like, from here. Yeah, I was completely unaware of it when I was in Nepal. I didn't even hear about it, to be honest. But when I came here, I went to the workplace, and all the colleagues, all managers, chefs, waitresses, they all following Australian rules. And without knowing Australian rules, you are completely isolated in a weekend, because they all watch and celebrate Australian rules. And that's when I started adapting that new sporting culture. So I just one of my mate was big giant Geelong supporter. So we watched the game together at his place, and we had a barbecue and few beer, and we started watching Geelong beating some rival teams called Hawthorn. And I saw that excitement and the vibrant environment at his place, and that's when I decided, okay, I'll support the Cats, and I became a Geelong fan.
Yeah, nice story, because I didn't think of asking about that before, but in one of the previous interviews I asked this woman what her advice would be for new migrants to kind of help integrate into Tasmania. She said, do you have to know about footy?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, if you really love to enjoy your life here in Tasmania, it's always necessary to follow certain sports. If you say like it sounds a bit different, but it's the fact. Like if you go to the pub, and if let's say like they're playing Ashes series, and if they ask you, the Aussies are going to win, and if you're like, oh, I know nothing about cricket, it doesn't sound great in that environment. Similar way, if you go in during winter and footy season, and everybody will be celebrating footy, and if you know nothing about footy, you are isolating yourself from that bunch of...
Yeah, if you even know a little bit, it can help you start a conversation.
Yeah.
It's just a way of getting to know people.
Exactly.
Know a bit about sport in Australia, it's a great way of getting into a conversation. Is there an equivalent sort of thing in Nepal for social conversation?
It's similar, like here in a youth circle, they completely busy playing some sort of sports, no matter it is cricket or volleyball or football. That's where most of the youngsters are busy apart from studies and work. Having said that, the older generations, they have seen the hardship, and they're busy talking about their crops, the bad weather, the government incentives, the government subsidizing, what sort of season they're going to have in terms of growing the plants and vegetables and crops. And they always talk to each other about their, the grows and farming is the best, the topic I frequently hear in Nepal. Yeah, because 80% of communities' economy is relying on farming. And what I have seen, I can't be wrong now because I have left Nepal long time ago, but in my generation, in my time when I was there, they used to talk about farming, all the older generations, and we just go and play sports. That's how I was grown up. If you talk about Nepali people, the first thing I have to put on the board is like their hardworking nature. It's not what I'm saying, but you can collect the statistics here around in Tasmania. Soon as they migrated from mainland or Nepal and came here, they have found a job, and their consistency and their dedication and hard work has been appreciated. So many people have won the award in hospitalities, and most of the businesses have got the chef from Nepal, the waitresses from Nepal. All the different domains lines they are in and workings, their references has been always good. So they can adapt the culture. They are not stubborn type of people like, I want this to be happen because this is my culture. They are very flexible. They adapt the culture very well, and they just become very flexible to accept and follow what are all the rules and regulations set up by local business. They're very flexible on that. Nepalese people are very kind. They're always happy to help other people because that's how we've been grown up. Because Nepal is very poor countries, and supporting each other is the best way of living in Nepal, and that is still in their gene. You can imagine when the Queensland floods or bushfire took place, our communities collaborated with the Red Cross, and they went to do the blood donations time after time. And I'm pretty sure our firefighters were offered the help by our Nepali Society of Tasmania. Even Bill community was provided the support by our community. So you can see their involvement, like, because soon as something goes wrong, they always they come out and support no matter what. They're always very emotional people, and they step up to expose their, the emotions in the right way. And they love their countries and background, and they get heartbroken if someone says like, you are from third world countries, you are from poor country. They cannot tolerate that, and they get really upset about it.
They have real pride in
they
the culture.
pride in they're very pride about the country, and the patriotism is really high in Nepalese people.
And what about advice for getting to know local?
You need to open up. That's the only way you can get closer to the local people. If you love sports, just go and play and talk to your teammates and the opposition teams. Share your knowledge and gain some knowledge from the opposition team as well. If you really like some conferences and things like that, or if you love the music, there is so many places you can go and get socialized and just open up. Where you're from, what you have done in your past. You just share everything with your local communities people, and they start listening you. They start believing on you. If you are very isolated, compact sort of people living at home, you're not gonna get that opportunity to open up. It's just my perspective, but I recommend Tasmanian people, you don't have to follow my culture, you don't have to follow my background, because you are already good where you are at. But my simple advice, after living more than a decade here, what I have found is like, you gotta be more respectful to your parents and senior members of your families. You got the room to keep the pets in your house, but your parents are living in aged care, which is really sad. And this is the culture where I found like your dad has to make an appointment to have a dinner in a Christmas time with your sons and your daughter. So it is really devastating from my perspective. Like you don't have to take an appointment to see your sons and daughter here if they're back in Nepal, and that has to be changed here. You need to be more respectful. What they have done to look after you, to grow up the kids is one of the hardest things. Yep. I have noticed since I have got 2 kids. Since I became a dad, I have noticed like growing up the kids is the toughest job, and all those hardships we gone through to look after the kids has made me even more respectful to my parents, and it applied to all parents all over the universe. Yeah, the best things of having family is all about family is not about the numbers. Family is all about compassion, obsessions, love, support. That's what family is all about. And you got to realize when you are in good positions and when your existing members of the families is in bad situations or position, that's when the families matter. You got to step up and then pull them up from their hardship. When your mom and dad gets vulnerable, it's your responsibility to look after them as much as you can. And if somebody's get depressed or like losing the track, and you can't simply tolerate or ignore him, that's the most defining time as a good family member. You got to step up and pull him over from that devastating time.
And has your family that how you?
Oh, they're pretty much Aussie, mate. They're pretty much Aussie. They go to these schools. They doing what the local kids does here. We've been trying harder to teach them at least how to speak Nepali. Forget about writing; it's gone. But we're trying to motivate kids to speak Nepalese so they do not lose what their origin is. We've been trying harder, and it's been working really well. Apart from that, they're happy to live the life what normal people here lives in. mean,
But what parts of Nepali back home really important up?
I expect them to keep that respectfulness all the times, which I talked about before. Like as a family, you gotta be respectful to your mom and dad. I want them to continue that. No matter what they do in future, I just want that person to remain forever with my kids, and that's how our generation is grown up. So when they grow up, or choose something to do, and they go away from my house, I do not have any issues. That's how the life is all about. I'm far from my parents, but we still have that attachment. I came here to bring my future bride, but it doesn't mean I have forgotten my parents. I have been in touch with them. So this is what exactly I expect from my kids.